Okay, I'm going to be working a question on the linear programming in inequalities. Okay, so I need you to watch and learn. Maximize. Then we're given a linear function z is equals to 5x plus 4y. Subject to the constraint. So we have the constraints. Okay, we are going to start making use of the constraint to actually get our region of solution. So the first on the constraint is okay, let's have solution now, is x plus 3y less than or equals to 10. Now once we have this, then we are going to write it as an equation is equals to 0 because we want to draw a graph of it. All right, so immediately we are going to now find the intercept, okay, of this. Good. Now for the intercept, we are going to do when x is equals to 0 and when y is equals to 0. So when x equals to 0, when y is equals to 0. Okay, so when x is equals to 0, clearly you can see that y is going to be 10 over 3. Then when y is equals to 0, clearly you could see that x is equals to 10. Okay, good. So let's move to the second constraint now. Now the second constraint we have is 4x. We have 4x minus y less than or equals to 5. Then we are going to write it as an equation. 4x minus y is equals to 5. Then it now follows that we shall get our intercept. Okay, so we are going to have x, y. So when x is equals to 0, when y is equals to 0. Now when x is equals to 0, clearly you can see that y will be minus 5. Then when y is equals to 0, clearly x is 5 all over 4. So we are done with that part too. Okay, good. We're moving. Then the next part is to, okay, this is just one variable. You have x is greater or equals to 0. So we have it as x is equals to 0 so that we can draw the line for x equals to 0 on our graph. The same thing, you are going to have y is greater or equals to 0. So we have y is equals to 0 so that we can draw the graph on our, we can draw the line on our graph. Okay, that is what we have. Now, but coming to this first, since it's inequality in two variables, we are going to have the coordinate, this one as 0, comma. Now 10 over 3, I think that should be 3.3 to 1 decimal place. Then we are going to have 10 comma 0. Then in this place we have 0 comma minus 5. Then we will have I think 5 over 4 should be 1.25. So probably let's say 1.3, okay, to 1 decimal place, comma 0. So we have this. Now good. So since we have our intercept, we have everything that we need to draw our graph. Let's go further to draw our graph. Okay, good. Prepared and ready to go. The first one we have when x is 0, y is 3.3. Now let's this is where we have our 3.3, so we have it in this place. We are good to go with that. Then when x is 10, y is 0, this is where we have. Then we'll now have our straight line as. Then this line is a line for 3x plus 3y is equals to 10. So this is a line for x plus 3y is equals to 10. So now we have to shade, okay, to represent the inequalities. Now, how do we now shade? Let me give you a simple clue on how to shade. It is x plus 3y is less than or equals to 0. So what you need to do is this. Since the line is like this, is either you shade around here or you shade around here. So you can pick any set of points, or downward or upward, to test to see which one is okay. Now I'm going to pick the origin, which is 0, 0 to test. Now if I pick the origin, it means that x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0. So it's going to be 0 plus 3 into 0 less than 10. Okay, is it actually less than 10? Let's see it. 0 is less than or equals to 10. So this holds, so it is very correct. Since it's very correct, then we are going to shade here because it is actually very correct. So we shade here. All right, we shade where we don't want, so we leave where we want. Now let's move to the second. The second is when x is 0, y is minus 5. This is minus 5. So I'm done with this. Then we move when okay, good. When x is 5 over 4, which is approximately 1.3, y is 0. So where do we have 1.3? Now let's come back to this and get our 1. So we have the point. Look at the point here. Okay, this is 1.3. So we have both points. So we are now going to draw a line. So we are going to have 4x minus y is equals to 5 for this line. Then the shading, just as the way we tested this, once you test this line, you find out that where we are to shade will be this area. So we shade this area. Okay, fine and good. We are moving, we are making progress. Now the next thing is x is equals to 0. This is very simple. Now this is the line for x. This is the line for x is equals to 0. And if we check, it is greater than 0. So we are going to shade all parts of x is less than 0. So we now shade this part. Okay, we shade this part. Now let's go to the next. The next is y is equals to 0. This is the line for y. This is the line for y is equals to 0. And we see that it is greater than 0. So we do not need the less than part. So we are shading the less than part. All right, we are shading the less than part. Now if you check, we are left with our own region of, so this is our region of solution. We have our region of solution. Now since we've done this, we've gone very far in solving the question. Now we need to actually find the point where we can maximize. We can test to see the maximum. This is what you need to know. For you to test this, you can only take the vertices of the region of solution. Can you see them? These 4 that I've picked? Good. These are the points that we are going to test to maximize or minimize as the case may be. So I need to get the coordinate. Now let's say here is A, and let's say here is B, let's say here is C, and here is D. So let's get the coordinate of A. The coordinate of A will be 0, 0. So we are done with that. Then let's go with coordinate of B, which is going to be 0, that should be 3.3. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Good. So that should be 3.3. So we are done with that. Then let's move to C. Coordinate of C will be 2 and 2.7. So let's get D. D is 1.3, 0. So we have our points, okay, all being written out. So let's go there and use our linear function, objective function, to maximize the work. So this is what we have now. Now this is going to be 5 into 0 plus 4 into 0. So all we have here is z is 0. So the next one, we are going to have 5 into 0 plus 4 into 3.3. We are going to have 13.2. The next, we are going to have 5 into 2, then plus 4 into 2.7, which will give us 20.8. Then the next we have 5 into 1.3, then plus 4 into 0, which will give us 6.5. In conclusion now, the answer is Z is equal to 20.8. That is the maximum value. That is the idea of maximizing.